quoting the words of Jesus in 1 Corinthians 11. This cup is the New Testament, or rather the New Covenant in my blood. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. In remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and you drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. In other words, whenever you take of this feast, you come to this table, there is a time to remember, to reflect, to recall, to remember. But there is also another thing that we think about, in that he says he's returning. So as we sit at this meal today and we consider the table of our Lord and we consider what we have been discussing for some time, God's willingness to allow us to sit at his table. And we are able to sit at his table and not be worried about his anger and about his wrath. For Jesus, prior to his departure, or rather prior to his crucifixion, he would make abundantly clear, this is the new covenant. This covenant is to release you from sin. My body and my blood that I'm giving you is for that purpose, so that I may release you from sin. As we've indicated before, meals communicated a message. It communicated equity, peace, relationship, unity. If you remember when we were looking at the book of Exodus, specifically Exodus chapter 24, verses 9 through 11, God having set forth the details and the parameters of the covenant, the first covenant that he gave to Israel, and given that covenant and the order and the parameters that were to be set within that covenant and the requirement of that covenant, Moses inaugurated that covenant with blood. The Hebrew writer would have us to see that as well in Hebrews 8 and 9. And so what we learned, what we saw when we look at Exodus chapter 24 and 9 through 11, Moses, Aaron, Hur, and elders went into a mountain, and the text is quite abundantly clear that they saw God. They saw God, and they ate, and they had a meal with God. I don't want you to look over that as if that's insignificant. That means something, because it is in that moment that God is communicating that he has peace and unity and relationship and harmony and equity with the people he just brought out of bondage in Egypt. And so Moses and others are able to sit there and have a meal with the Lord, and the narrator is careful to note that he does not attack them.